Outlaws do advocates, we speak the truth. Got a mic in our hand, yeah, we're breaking loose. From behind them bars, we're breaking glass roofs. We're telling our stories and dropping mad truth. Yo, it's George, Jesse, and Jeremy on the mic. 3 outlaws on a mission, man, it feels so right. We were doing hard time, now we're dropping rhymes. Turn the hustle into hope, redefining our prime. From the prison yard to podcast fame, taking back our power, no more shame. We used to win numbers, now we win names.
Really get moving, huh?
You know?
Yeah. Well, welcome.
Can't feel the music.
Made it back 2 weeks in a row. It's a personal record for us lately. We got Christin and Ian Day on Outlaws to Advocates tonight.
What's going on?
Super excited. I know it's about
damn time.
we've had reschedules and cancels and all kinds of crazy stuff that's happened along the way, but
I was starting to gain a resentment toward
taking
you.
a
I was taking it
I was,
really
I was,
personal.
I was your fourth step.
Yeah.
Oh man,
About
I'm
to
sorry.
It's a long list. Don't worry.
4th and 10th. We're not going to worry
He's
about
on
the
it
9.
too.
We'll put you on 4 and 10.
Yeah.
No need for 9.
He just did his.
I did.
And I was on it.
Absolutely. 100%. Yeah, absolutely.
That was
dude.
like the second one on the list.
No, it was the backside.
Oh, okay.
It was the
backside?
Yeah. It's a backside. I do one every like 6 months or so.
Just a 4-step you run through.
No, just a force, just an inventory.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Get rid of
because
the
we do
resentments.
men's retreats. So like every men's retreat, we go over
Oh, that's cool.
the 4-step. So like it, they give you a little time to either sit with somebody and listen and do a 5th step for them, or run through your own inventory. And so like I just realized really early on that I need these. Like I need a couple inventories because I'm,
No.
a resentful dude. I'm
That's so weird because every time I see you, every time we talk, it's obviously not often because we're both busy.
Yeah.
But whenever we do cross paths, out of everybody I know, you always have the best energy.
Well, I do inventories. I treat my alcoholism,
Hey, now, real quick, Ian, for maybe somebody that is interested in recovery, wants to get better, and doesn't necessarily know what that is, how would you explain that to somebody that doesn't necessarily know what a 4-step is?
Oh, man.
Somebody's
Well,
out
you got to
there.
do 1, 2, and 3 first. It's a 12-step program. How do I put this? Just an inventory, man, of all the harm that I've caused. It turns out to be like, okay, what's my side of the street, right? So I remember, I'll tell you a story. That's my best way is experience, right? Like I remember being in treatment in 2017, and I don't remember actually being able to understand the concept, right? So that's a good question because like I had no idea. So I get to this 4th step and I'm listening to sponsor dude and he's just kind of laying it all out. None of it makes sense, and so I just did it, right? So it's over the years, like I was saying, you go to the men's retreats and you get linked up with people that give you a better understanding. And I'm taking dudes through the steps and they're sharing their inventories with me. So, I think the best thing is that it's something that I've never done before, so it's a brand new concept. It's something that I'm gonna trust God. I'm going to pray, I'm going to put this pen in my hand, and I'm going to, for the first time in my life, be honest with myself about the stock and trade, right? Like, here's all of the resentments that I've had. Like, I'm talking down to, David S. He was my bully. And from 6th grade to senior year, we just went at it, at each other's throats. And a cool story about that, though, is that I'm doing service work for Maricopa County, right? And I walk into the pod one day, and I hear Ian, and I'm like, oh shit, oh crap, you know what I mean? Like, oh man, it's always like a good or a bad thing when that happens.
Yeah, it's one extreme or the other. Right?
Yeah. I haven't really experienced anything super bad, but like, I look over, man, and it's him. And I'm from a town, 1 stoplight, 1 gas station, no fast food, 2,700 people, right? And I went to kindergarten with this kid in Centerville, Indiana. And he comes down and we start talking and I'm like, oh crap, like I owe this guy an amends. Like that's how it works, right? Like it says, you know, that it gives us precise instructions in the literature that I'm a part of, that, like, you know, if possible, make a direct amends, right? But I do have my list. And so, like, I'm looking at this dude and I'm like, this is my chance. I haven't seen him since, but I got to make an amends for how selfish I was and how concerned of, like, my feelings I was, and how inconsiderate I was of maybe what he was going through as a kid. And it was beautiful, man. And I cried and he cried and I held him. And I think the funniest thing is he was like 5'9" and I'm 6 foot tall. And I was like, how was I ever afraid of this guy? Because I'm driven by 100 forms of fear, man. Like, and self-delusion and self-seeking motives. Like, all I worry about is me and my safety. And if you're going to harm me, or you're going to hurt me, or if I'm scared of you, or what that looks like. And man, it was a beautiful experience. Like, for anybody that hasn't gotten to that point, man, if that's what you're doing, if recovery work is what you're doing, and you're watching this podcast and you're with us tonight, like, it's, oh my gosh, it's one of the most beautiful things. Yeah.
Awesome.
Do you have anything that, from a woman's point of view?
Fuck men. No, I'm just
Well, we know that.
Fair
I
statement.
mean, yeah, you know, clean your side of the street. Make things better. Always.
Just do what you're told.
You want to,
Yes, yes, dear.
and
Okay,
you want to
honey.
introduce yourself, Kristen?
Hi, I'm Christin Day. I am known as your neighborhood hope dealer.
Nice.
Just kidding.
Absolutely, you are.
Yeah, I work for Crossroads. I'm the head bitch in charge at Everlasting Ink,
What's Everlasting Ink for people that don't
our
know?
tattoo shop.
You work there? You know anything about
Yeah.
the tattoo shop, man?
I
Do, yeah.
go in there and cause problems and walk out.
We've seen
That's
the
what he
we've seen
told
the
somebody.
Oh
TikTok.
my god. Oh my
I
god.
go in there, cause shenanigans, and then I'm like, okay, I gotta go, bye. See you.
Yeah, it's great.
I love it though.
Yeah.
That's so
Sorry.
cool.
It's a blessing.
It is.
Yeah, it's our little slice of the pie, man.
That's pretty awesome, man.
Yeah.
Sure. I didn't think it was ever.
So were you guys both sober when you met?
Yeah.
So
were?
we met in 2019. Colby and I were at the CA convention, and Ian slid into my DMs.
I tried to stay away from you.
So
did,
he
no,
started.
How'd that work out?
I tried to stay away from her.
He started following me in March of 2019. On my friends list, everything. Slid into my DMs in August and was like, why are you hanging out with my friends? And I was like, we have a hotel room. Do you want to come hang out? And then he showed up. And he showed up the first night and we hung out. And then he came back the second night and we hung out.
Of course he did.
And then
Yeah, I came back.
And then
She
he
asked me
stayed.
to stay the first night.
I asked him to stay the first night and he was like, oh, I can't. I gotta.
She did.
Listen, I never fucking chased a dude as much as I chased this guy right here.
You
And
caught-
I
and
always
you caught
liked,
him.
and I always liked older guys. So this one, I'm a cougar now, you know, and he's younger than me, so like 7 years younger than me, and I was like, God dang it, dude. Like I said, like chasing after him. I lived in like North Peoria, and he lived in like Mesa,
Downtown Mesa.
and I would drive there every single day. I literally put 1,000 miles on my car in a week, driving back and forth.
It was
with this dude.
ridiculous.
And he's like, we're just gonna get together and like we're gonna date, but we're gonna just be friends and get to know each other. And I was like,
Just wanted to take things slow for once, you
the
know?
fuck is that?
Sponsor dude told me change everything.
Yeah.
And I didn't in the beginning. And I went through this one and I went through this one. And I was like, well, he's probably right then. And so I finally started taking suggestions. And I finally was, you know, a husband at some point.
It
Wow.
lasted,
I tried.
okay, we were friends for a month and a half.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
And then I
discipline.
did his laundry a couple times.
I was
and
waiting for that. I was waiting.
That's what got me.
I was waiting for the laundry
Seriously,
thing. Yeah.
that's what got me.
Yeah.
So he was living in a he was living in a 3/4 house in Mesa.
I had a
And
lot to offer.
no car, no driver's license.
In a
But I was
TLC
like,
3/4
God dang. And he
It
would
was
take
actually me.
Ubers and
Yeah.
he would take fucking the scooters. And he's like, I'm going to drive the scooter and go to a meeting.
Had
And
a
I was
bicycle.
like, no, stay there. I'll be right there. 45 minutes later, here I am going to drive to go get him so that I could take him to a meeting.
Oh, that's awesome.
You even let me smoke a cigarette in your car.
Oh my God. Ugh.
She was trying
I
hard.
really was.
It was funny because we
just-
were at the Eris event, and I remember. Can you tell the laundry story?
The laundry story
Yeah.
about him?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And I made my sponsee meet me at the laundromat so that we could do her 4-step. And we proceeded I made her fold his underwear with me and we went over. I mean, we folded his laundry and we did her 4th and 5th step and that was it,
Yeah.
and here we are.
That-
And
that was-
I
that was
went
what
back
got
to,
him?
yeah.
I made her a certificate.
Got him. He
So-
made me a certificate that he got like an 8x10 frame from Walmart, and it's got like this certificate to blah blah blah, and he said to my girlfriend, September 22nd, 2019, and I was like, oh my God, he loves me.
That's so cool.
So September 22nd, we made it official, and October 15th, we moved in together, and November, DCS came, and
It was so cool.
we got his son full time.
Nice.
That was my
was-
first apartment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 Like ever.
That's a big win. Yeah.
Like, well, I had an apartment before, but my parents helped me get it. So I had never went and
What were you
done
doing for work
anything.
then? Were you tattooing?
Oh, at the time when we got the apartment?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I had 2 jobs. So when I first got sober, I was living in the halfway house. I lived at TLC on Dana, and doing the 90 meetings in 90 days. They give you 3 days to get a job, right? So I went out on job search, got a job, but they wouldn't let me hang out at the house and wait for that job to start. So they sent me as a volunteer to the food bank. And when I was volunteering at the food bank, I ended up getting a job there. They just tossed me a shirt one day. So the whole time since I've been sober, like my sobriety date's 6/27/18.
What food bank? What good job. By the way.
United Food Bank.
United Food
Yeah,
Bank?
in Mesa. Right there by the house, walking distance. And since I've been sober, I haven't done a formal interview. I've never had a background check bounce back sideways on me. Like this whole 12-step thing and doing the next right thing and the work that's involved, and I've given myself completely to this process, and I've never had a roadblock. Like, not saying that there aren't roadblocks ahead, but I've always been so blessed in the aspect of, like, if I just don't do what I want and I do what's suggested of me, like, it's not my idea. Like, half of my problem my whole life was that it was my idea, So I got this job at this food bank, man, and then there was a dude in the program that was like, hey, I know you tattoo. You're going to tattoo for me when I open this shop. And I was like, whoa. I said, let me run this by sponsor dude. And sponsor dude said, well, do both. Like, why do you need to quit your full-time job? Do both. And I did. And that was the first time I'd have 2 jobs. For a year, she was a trooper, man. Like,
Literally, we had only been together like a month and a half, and I get this 3-year-old kid. Now, mind you, my kids are grown. My kids are 24, 21, and 20. When I was like, what the fuck am I gonna do with a 3-year-old? And he came in pull-ups and like sippy cups, and I'm like, I don't know what to do with this thing.
it was great.
But there was a
great.
lot of, I'm not going to say roadblocks, but there was a lot going through that. Like, we both had to show up to court for, this DCS custody case. And like, of course, they try to paint me as the bad person because I lost my kids, my rights were severed, everything like that. But like, we got to just suit up and show up, and I laid my fingerprint clearance card on the table with the lawyer and the mediator, and
We went through something where our past didn't define who we are today.
right.
Yeah.
And they gave us full custody of his kid, and we went on our way. We
Yeah.
didn't even have a room for him.
No.
Let alone, we had like a pull-out thing to make him
stayed
a bed
in the living room.
In the living room.
No.
Yeah, it was a
was all
one-bedroom.
gone.
It was like 500
500
square
square
feet. One bedroom, one bath. It
That's
just-
family shit right there.
Well,
Right.
it's like,
Well, I moved from a
You know,
$500,000 house to this.
she did. She did. This other house had like 9 rooms. She had her own wing of the house. And she
swear to
moved into
God,
a
dude.
1-bedroom, 1-bathroom home with me. I thought I was pretty special. I did. I thought I
You
was.
were
I,
so special.
so much to offer.
Fresh out the 3/4.
But the cool
Dang.
thing about that story, though, is that like, how many like I know you guys have probably been through situations where they tell you, you know, you can't do this or you can't do that or you'll never be able to do this or you know, like, oh, you have to have a room for the kid, you have to have this for the kid, you have to have that,
Yeah.
and like everything that happened. We got sole custody of my son. We didn't have the room necessarily. I mean, we made him an area, but like
For real.
they didn't say no.
Yeah.
You know, God showed up and put him in a responsible adult's care, and I got to be a dad.
And now you guys are making TikToks and doing all that
Man,
cool
I'm-
stuff.
I'm-
It's awesome.
And now we
so
got
amazing.
2 kids. We got, you know, his daughter that moved with us, and it's been 3 years now. June 1st was 3 years, so
That's amazing.
now
Good job,
I'm
Russ.
raising a 9 and an 11-year-old, and I'm going gray, but cover it with purple. These
There you
days.
go.
Well, it's an amazing message,
It
you know,
is.
like
Absolutely.
how hopeless I felt living in the halfway house. You know, I got told all the things. You know, you're POS, you'll never amount to nothing. Like, you'll
never
never
gonna
see your kid.
kids.
And I'm going to have him. You're not. And you're not good enough to see him. And you've never had a job. You've never provided for him. And this, that, and the third. And it was all lies. You know, I was going to get to see him. And I am his dad. And I do get to pay and take care of him in every aspect. And I get to take him to school every single morning. And, you know, I get to help mold this child.
No,
And I was told I wasn't going to get to,
that's pretty cool.
you know?
Got
So,
through it.
like, that's the cool thing, though, is like if you're in that situation and you get to see this podcast, like,
There's hope.
there's hope. Like, you don't have to be whatever anybody else tells you you are in the moment. Like, you can change.
Right.
You know, there's possibility of change.
I think that's really powerful because I know a lot of people out there that, you know, for one reason or another have got separated from their kids and they just feel defeated, you know, and they just feel like there's no path forward. They just feel like there's some loser dad and they're never going to get to see their kid because the mom tells them that they can't and they've made some bad choices and they just give up.
Yeah.
So it's nice to hear that, you know, by turning your life around, that is possible and there is a path forward.
For
Yeah.
sure.
It's all God, man.
And there's
God
a
just
lot-
knew that we were going to need to be there.
Yeah, for sure. And there's a lot to that story too that just, you know, I mean, I could get into that whole thing. Like, it brought up a lot for me, like past trauma, like fighting this case and this DCS case. Like, I'm looking at myself at his baby's mom. I'm looking at myself fucking 8 years ago.
No.
And I'm like looking at her, and I can remember being at the courthouse, and I'm just like, he's over in the corner, and I pull her to the side, and I was just like, and I'm crying, and she's crying, and I'm like, listen, like, if you don't fucking get it together, you're gonna lose these kids, and you're done. Like, pull your head out of your ass, stop doing everything for this man, and get your shit together for your kids. Because I didn't. I had 3 weeks away from my reunification date for my daughter, and I fucking got cocky, and oh, I got this. Oh, I don't need to go to that meeting today. Oh, I don't need to sponsor that girl today. And I fucking got loaded, and my rights were severed, and my daughter was adopted, and I didn't see her for 3 years. Boom. You know what I mean? So, like, that whole thing was, oh God, it brought up a lot for a couple years until just recently, like me going to therapy and really working through it. You know, I've taken a step back, and I can't fix her. I can't make her get sober. I can't make her want to be a mom. But what I can do is show up for that little boy and be the mom that he needs right now.
No.
And that in itself right there is a fucking miracle.
Absolutely.
You know? And, you know, I went through times where, like, and again, I've done a lot of therapy to get me to this point, but I waited for, you know, my relationship with my 2 older kids were close. But my youngest, she still keeps me at arm's distance, and it's okay, and I'm okay with that. Is it hard at times? Absolutely. But when I finally got the message from her of like, how can you raise these 2 kids and be sober for them when you couldn't be sober for me? And I was like, you know,
Yeah.
like it fucked me up.
puts you in like a stalemate situation,
Yeah.
like, and I get it.
Yeah.
I totally get it. But we've pushed past it a lot of
Absolutely.
times, every time we get to that point. Because, like, I could totally understand why you would want to just, like, pull back from the kids, young kids.
And I did for a while. There were times that I pulled back. And I pulled back from him. I pulled back from the kids because of my guilt and shame.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm like,
just trying to be there for the other, like, trying to, you know,
yeah.
well, maybe if I pull back from them, then maybe she'll show me more attention.
Right.
You know? So it's such a teeter-totter at that point.
So many people have that misconception, especially early recovery. Hey, you get sober, everything's going to be great.
It's not.
It's like you get sober and everything's going to be hard, and now you have no way of fucking dealing with it because you don't have meth or crack or
For sure.
heroin or whatever. And being able to have people in your life that are going to walk through you with that, understand what's going on, and not just drag you back down for it or chastise you or shame you or guilt you over it.
Yeah.
That's the stuff that we need in order to get through those moments, because
Right.
that's when shit gets
Real.
hard, man.
Real.
Absolutely. It's funny, we got on
Real,
here
real.
tonight. You know who Jason Jardine is? Have you ever met him?
I've heard of him. You had him on the podcast too, right?
No. He's like a CO3 up at Central Office.
Okay, yes.
Phenomenal. He does a lot of the staff trainings, a lot of the work with our
Okay,
population.
I've heard of him, yes.
He trained me when I got into the reentry thing. He's on here. Purdy's on here, who's
Oh,
the reentry
Purdy.
coordinator.
What's
We all
up,
know him.
what's up?
Robert Purdy.
Purdy's
Jeremy.
sick right now,
He said
so-
Jeremy needs a fucking haircut. So
Jeremy's just chilling over here today.
But I was just
Pretty
thinking,
sick.
you know, like as you're talking, like there wasn't much drugs or alcohol raised in my family, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I had a wonderful stepfather.
Mm.
And he took on the responsibility of my brother and I when we were freaking teenagers.
Right.
And we were a shit hellstorm.
Mm.
And
that would be a
never
lot of responsibility
did
right
he
now.
Ever. If he pulled back, I never saw it.
Yeah.
Right? He was always very present, never gave up, supported my mom, and literally stayed the most consistent I'd ever. And I tried to run that dude off, I don't know how many times, you know.
You want to leave in the yard?
He wasn't never, never kicked in, never left the
Take it
yard.
beating
But
after
just
beating,
gone
huh?
back, like, you know, what your actions are
Yeah.
currently in that regard, taking on something that you know that there's not a blood bond there, but it's irrelevant, right? And that irrelevance is like is an amazing gift.
And let me tell you, this last month, like
So that's what I got.
the step parent thing, it's crazy because my stepdad just called us on our way here, and he was like, "I just want to tell you I love you," and I'm like, "Fuck, dude!" Like, ugh, God, I'm not crying.
That's good shit to
My
cry
eyes
over
are
right there.
hard, you know. But like, I ran that dude through the fucking mud. I was
I could only
such a
imagine.
bitch to him. Like, I would manipulate situations to where my mom was like. My mom would fight for me
Yeah.
and fight with him,
Yeah.
you know, or fight against him.
Yeah.
And same thing with my dad, you know, and my stepmom. And my stepdad calls and tells me he loves me on the way here, and then he's like, I just want you to know that I'm going to get power of attorney for you, and that if anything happens to us, you're going to be in charge. And I was like, I already have access to the fucking savings account. Like, he put me as the beneficiary, and now you're fucking giving me access to, if something happens to you, now I'm in charge of you? Like, what the shit, man? Oh, man.
I told him we were going to move them in and torment them.
I need the guys so that I can build the backyard, build the house in the backyard.
Yeah, we can definitely get you connected with some good
Get you
workers.
a couple guys.
for sure.
Yeah, I seen the house in the back of New Freedom.
Yeah.
So
And it's
they
like
can do it.
the parenthood aspect is such a huge responsibility. And the most maturest thing that I have ever seen my brother do was admit that he had abandoned his children, you know, openly on this podcast.
Right.
And then actually do something about it and show up every day, that regardless of whatever he's going through in life, that he knew that he wants to be present as a result of, you know, having the experience of abandoning his children and where he's at today with his new child. It's the gift of, you know, that you guys have is amazing.
Well, I think it gives you a good look of like,
And what is my brother doing for the first time in his life? He's given himself to a simple program.
oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
Shows up.
Well, it gives you a good look of like, okay, you know, you're in your early 40s, right? Yeah, I did that.
Oh no, I thought it was mid-30s.
I'm in my late 30s, right?
36, honey.
And that's just a gauge. Chill out, everybody.
43.
But that's just a gauge. Okay, well, now you get a real look at what your stepdad was going through raising you.
God.
You know, or like what, you know, your dad may have went through, you know, oh, new kids, new household, oh, he loves them more than me, and like, how could he go live this brand new life, right? And that feeling that you felt. Right, and that's where you sat for so long, but now you get to see, oh, I'm in this family and I'm showing up for these kids, and that's all he was doing.
Right.
Was showing up for those kids. So now you get to see it full circle, and you kind of like a little bit of a weight should fall off your back, you know, like,
For sure.
oh man, I need to call dad.
Yeah.
you know what I
But
mean?
like I said, there were times that I just, you know, I fought that feeling, and I can like hold my head up high and know, like, I did choose men and I did choose drugs over my kids, but that's not who I am today. And I love these kids. I love my kids with all my heart, and I just want to be a better person than I was yesterday.
I'll tell you
know
what,
I mean?
man. And I'm hearing everybody talk about family, and I'm just thinking, like, some of the deepest, darkest times of my life, the only people that have ever shown me unconditional love are my parents.
Yeah.
My mom, my dad, my stepdad. No matter what I was doing, no matter where I was at in my life, they were always there for me 100%, had my back, believed me when I didn't, loved me when I didn't love myself. And I don't know how I would have got through some of the stuff that I went through without them. I mean, I just hope that someday I can have a child and be half the parents that my parents were to me.
Yeah,
it
it
was-
scares me, man. Like, it scares me to death. Like, am I showing up well enough? Am I there enough? Am I teaching them enough? Am I teaching them the right things? Am I teaching them how to be good people? Like, it's just, it's always in my head too. Yeah, man.
Marlo and I, we went to Payson this weekend to help her mother-in-law move some stuff around in the house, and we go to this restaurant, really nice place, right? And I got my sponsee with me, and we're just sitting there hanging out. And my sponsee and I look over at this table, and it's a full-blown family, and every single one of them's on their phone.
Yep.
The food came, like there was no conversation coming from that table. I'm like,
Checks out.
today's like modern world, like, you know, when we were kids, we had the connection
Right.
because we didn't have all the
They
tools.
don't have that.
They didn't have it, and I watched those kids, like they didn't say one word. It was nothing.
Yeah.
There was no engagement.
Yeah.
It is a lot different these
the
days.
restaurants today, when we go to Tucson, we usually hit this little Mexican hot dog stand thing they got.
Yeah.
But it was closed, and we didn't want gas station food for once, so we're like, where are we gonna go? Because we have a morning group and afternoon group.
Yeah.
I don't know the name. What's the name of the place?
Rudy's.
Rudy's.
Yeah.
So Jeremy's like, hey, I know a place, Rudy's. We went over there. We had a pretty good lunch.
Yeah.
And it was funny because we knew we were going to take pictures and we are going to post them. They had the, I don't know, the fancy soda, but it all looks like bottles of beer. So every picture we're taking, we're making sure the label's facing the camera.
Don't need any allegations here.
Before all the rumors start.
I think like what's really intriguing here is that what you guys are really talking about is your connection with your kids, right?
Yeah.
And that was like where I was going with it, and to be able to have his kids lean into you and trust you.
Yeah.
You get to give maybe what you kind of almost regretted
Absolutely.
back then, right? And that's how God works, right? You have an opportunity now to.
And I always say that in my story, like, this is
Yeah.
my second chance.
Yeah.
This is my second chance to be the mom that I was supposed to be. So.
And it's gonna be a long ride.
Oh God.
Our kids are 9 and 11.
11
So-
going on 21.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just a couple more years.
It's gonna be a long ride.
Giddy up. Teenage stuff. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and then Ryder's mom isn't in the picture right now. My daughter's mom is moving back to Arizona right now.
She's on her way right
Yeah,
now.
we'll do all right with that.
Yeah,
We'll
that's
do
gonna be fine,
We'll
but
do okay.
I'm worried,
They're gonna be in
like-
Santan though.
We're dealing with Ryder right now is his anger is coming out because his sister's mom is coming and she gets to see his mom or her mom.
Right.
But why don't I get to see my mom?
Right.
So last week we ran into a problem and it was on our way to the Boys and Girls Club and I'm dropping him off and
It's always with you.
I know. And he's like in the back and he's like, I'm angry. And I'm like, listen. And I was like, listen, your feelings are absolutely valid and you are allowed to be angry, but you need to know that me and Dad are not the ones that are keeping your mom from you. And again, then I go back and I'm like, fuck, I don't want to talk shit about her. You know, I don't want to put her down.
No, we love her.
And I love her and we pray for her every single night. Every single night I pray with him, we pray for his mom. And I'll never stop doing that. But I need him to know also that it's not him and I that are keeping him from her.
Yeah.
And that she's sick and that she's choosing to not be around. And so, yeah, I've been having to deal with these conversations and it really fucking sucks because I call my husband and I'm like, I don't know what the fuck to say to him. Like, what do I do? And then I pick him up from the Boys and Girls Club and the lady's like, I could tell the minute that he walked in, he was having a bad day. And she was like, he literally like threw his hat off and was kicking shit. And I was like, we don't act like that. Like, that's not who we are. When we drop the kids off, the first thing we say is, who are we? We're good people. What do? We treat others like we want to be treated. And they say that every single day. That is not how we act.
That's so cool.
Yeah, we don't act like that. And you know, I took his phone away and of course he's upset. Like, that's the only thing that get these kids these days is taking their phones or their tablets away. It's a fucking wrap. So you know, I'm going through that stuff right now of growth for sure.
comfortable.
And being there and being present for him and again, not bad mouthing her. But then I take a second back and I'm like, fuck, like, what did my kids feel like? You know what I mean? Like, what was said to my kids those times that my daughter's like, well, why can't I see my mom? And I'm like, God, like, it's hard. It's fucking hard, dude.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the miracle of recovery is that you guys are able to navigate these situations without saying fuck it and getting loaded.
Yeah.
You know, today we show up and we go through, you know, we do the hard stuff.
Yeah.
Have the hard conversations.
Absolutely.
No,
And
that's
let me
awesome.
tell you, like, I've tried everything with this girl to where Ian's like, enough's enough. Like, stop. Like, I obsess about fixing her and making her better to where I had her at Sanctuary. I had her at another place, like, sex trafficking shit, all this shit, had her all lined up, dude. And she fucking left.
The disease
and
got a hold of
loaded.
her.
Yeah.
because that's what it is.
Right.
what it does.
And
You know,
she
it takes
has
away
to
my-
go through her own shit.
Yeah, it takes away that it's not a choice at a certain point. Like
Right.
I give all that up willingly to get to the next one.
And they've literally compared brain scans, right, with, you know, sober
I've been hearing
individuals.
so many about brain scans
It's
lately.
pretty intense, right? Because more norepinephrine and epinephrine can get released in a meth addict's brain than the love for her children, right? It's that powerful, right? And that's why we lose our freedom. That's why we lose our kids. We've talked about this before, but to no fault of their own, that's the disease.
It's a disease, for sure.
It's wild, man, because like with my disease, I'm the most sick at the sickest point of my disease is when I run out till I get the next one.
Oh, vicious.
I'm done.
It's a
Or
rough
even
road.
another way to look at it is, an even sicker way to look at it would be knowing that all that's going to happen, putting that shit back in my body sober, thinking that
Right.
it's going to be fucking different this time.
Well,
Right.
that's a fact about my disease. For sure. I can't remember how bad it was a week or a month ago, right? Like I know the outcome, and I can't stop myself from doing it. You know, I remember head in my hands in the garage, because the garage was the hottest place because I'm on probation and, you know, I need to sweat out all this dope. and I'm in the garage and I'm just like, man, like, why can't I stop doing meth? Like, I know I have a drug test coming up. Like, I know it's coming.
Consequences don't matter.
I do, but then I call and I'm like, and it's the time, right? Like I call the task line, and it's time, and the feeling,
Bubble
like
guts?
when it's incomprehensible demoralization. That's the feeling. When my color gets called, my number gets called, and I know I'm dirty. That's the feeling. And what do?
Get
I
out.
take some baking soda pills and get sick.
No, man, I get high.
Yeah.
You know, because what's the use anyhow now, right? And it says it in the book, dude.
But you just,
It says that stuff.
You just literally, like, you reminiscing, you know, this emotional memory that you're sharing. I had an incredible idea one time where I'd rob a crack dealer without a gun, and he shot me. Right? Crack dealers have
Well, you don't want an armed robbery charge.
right. No, so he shot me in the leg, and when I went to the hospital, I get home. You know, I asked my stepdad, I'm like, hey, you know, I ran out of pain pills. Can you give me a ride? You know, he took me to the dope spot. I used money. I bought crack. And then when I ran out, I hopped. I just watched myself, when you're talking, walking down 32nd Street with the boot on my leg.
Yeah.
A mile into Marconi, into the square to buy crack.
Yeah.
Oh, the square.
Yeah, man, I get it. I get it.
Nothing. It's 110 out.
Nothing stopped me.
Nothing.
I remember getting into an accident. This is how powerful our disease is. Like all war stories aside,
War stories
like
set aside, like,
this
I was
is
serious.
I think that. So I was on probation in Pinal County and Maricopa County. So I was at court. So I was at court for Pinal County this day, right? And I thought, you know, I was going to get seen in the morning, court dates in the morning, right? Well, they pushed me out past lunch, and
Start
I don't know, you know, don't they know who I am? Like, get me in and get me out, you know?
I got shit to do.
Yeah, right. And I start freaking out because like I'm gonna get sick, right? And that was towards the end. I was on a lot of heroin every day, and I start freaking out, and so I start making phone calls, and I think that I'm gonna be able to get from the Pinal County court in Florence all the way to Scottsdale to grab money from my dad at work to Higley in the 60 and back to Pinal County Courthouse
so I can get seen.
by whenever.
Within an hour.
Yeah, I can do it. I can do it.
Okay,
right?
Houdini.
I can do it. So I take off in my minivan back to Scottsdale. Yeah, it's paid off. My parents gave it to me. My parents gave it to me. Dude.
What model? What style? Like,
It was one of the Sedonas, the Kia Sedona.
nice.
Yeah,
nice.
white. Yeah. It was great. It was like a 20. It was like a 20,
Automatic side door?
2004 or 20. No, 2004. Like no, it was a hoopty.
buttons.
No buttons.
Yeah, hoopty. The back seats were always down. I think I lost them. Anyway, And so I'm on my way, but like all seriousness, I'm looking for a phone charger, right? Of
course.
Because my phone's about to die. And I pull off the side of the road and I hear dirt under the car. So I pop my head up like a little turtle out of a hole, you know, and I see that I'm heading straight for the guardrail. You know how they have the old guardrails out there on 79? And I'm heading right for this guardrail. I take it and I slide in the dirt. And so now I'm 60 miles an hour sideways right in the guardrail. Boom! And I hit this guardrail, it bends my door into my leg, and I have this huge gash in my leg, almost like a gunshot, right? Like, and that's what reminded me of this. Yeah. And so I hit the guardrail, and then it flips me up on the nose of the car, and I skid, and it slams me down, right? And I only know this because an 18-wheeler pulls up behind me, right? Because I just, nothing's gonna stop me, dude. Nothing's gonna stop me. The 18-wheeler pulls up and he's like, I don't know how you're alive, man. You need a ride?
Like,
Yeah. You like, yeah, absolutely.
You left the minivan?
I left the minivan. I got a ticket for leaving the scene of an accident that day, but I didn't get a DUI.
abandoned vehicle, $500.
Yeah.
$500.
Yeah, it was bad. He was just so astonished, you know, and nothing's gonna stop me, man. I'm getting where I need to go.
Heroin.
And he drops me off. My parents were on Ellsworth and Broadway. He drops me off at the exit, and on the 60 in Ellsworth, and I walked with a huge gash in my leg, this big, just bleeding profusely from the 60 to Broadway to my parents' house. Like,
Yeah.
you know, because I'm getting that heroin, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I get home and I call and I get the money and I never got stitches. I butterfly bandaged it, alcohol and butterfly bandaged, and smoked more heroin.
No.
This disease is so powerful, man.
And you made it back to court in time?
No. No, I called the court and said I got into a car accident. So I snitched myself out, you know?
No.
And they got rescheduled and stuff. Like, I'd never called court and said I'd been in an accident and been an actual truth before. So there's
I was
that, you know?
literally
That was
on
gross.
my way to turn myself in for my DUI, and I took, so you self-surrender, right, at Maricopa, and I took some Xanax, like, literally 15 minutes before I got there, so that when I would go in for my 48 hours, I'd pass out.
Solid plan.
And I fucking, boom, I nod out, and I hit the car behind, or the car in front of me, and break my nose, and the cops come, and I'm like, I gotta go to jail. I gotta go. And the cop's like, you're not going anywhere.
Did you bat your
You need
eyelashes?
to go to, I tried. I walked into the court to go to court and tell the judge, like, I can't self-surrender. Please don't put a warrant out for my arrest. And he says, you need to go to the hospital. My nose is all bleeding, and I'm, like, fucked up from the Xanax. I'm like, hot mess, dude.
This disease is powerful,
It
man.
is.
It makes
It
you do
really
things you
is.
never thought you would do. There's so many lines that I set down in the sand
Yeah.
that every single one I crossed.
I swore I would
one
never.
There's a
stick
really
needle
cool
in
flip
my
side of
arm.
that,
I
though.
say that every
because
one I crossed.
Every
now
single
when,
one.
Now when you get into regular life and real life, pushing boundaries in a healthy way, it's like nothing. I mean, you own your own fucking business now.
Yeah.
Right.
That's not, average people can't do that
That's
shit.
so cool.
And you walk around with a smile on your face, you're happy, you help people out, you work in recovery, you sponsor a bunch of people that are brand new in recovery. Normal people are like, oh, that's insane, that's way too much, that's this, that's that.
Yeah.
I do.
I
this
walked a mile and a half with half of my blood in my body leaking from the leg after I wrecked a minivan
Yeah.
to
Right.
go get high. All I got
Sure.
to do is stay at work for another 2 hours to tattoo somebody,
Oh,
whatever.
man,
I'm
it's-
good.
I'm blessed. Blessed and highly
Absolutely.
favored.
I think it's an absolute privilege to have you guys on here.
We love you guys.
This is an opportunity I would
to
never
look
say
up
no
to you
to.
guys. You know, coming out of incarceration and like running into you guys is a real privilege, right? You do the tattoos. She's like the light of like Phoenix, right? I'm just like, when you mix the two, you know what I'm thinking? Like, what's next on your list? And it's just a suggestion, is like a really good, solid band. Like, what are you guys, like, if you had your own band, like, I would go see you guys.
Yeah.
Like, I would go watch it. Is there any music in the
No.
future?
No.
I was in
I mean, I
marching
can sing a
band.
mad karaoke.
He can sing the what's that?
No,
Creed.
No. What's the song?
it's a Tenacious D song.
There
It's
you
Jack
go.
Black.
Tenacious D.
Yeah.
I'll send you the live from Friday the 13th the other day.
Oh, you have one.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
if anybody
They
knows my
handed me the
husband, my
microphone.
husband is very like, what would Jesus do type shit. Like he doesn't cuss that much, and
That's not true.
It is to an extent. And he sings
I love Jesus.
this "fuck you" song, and everybody's like, we went to karaoke one night, and he's like singing this, and I'll fuck you, and I'm like. He's serenading me, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, who is this?" You know.
I didn't always have sexual integrity. You know, it just wasn't always something that was present in my life. But with good mentorship, good sponsorship, man, like these guys showed me how to be a man
Absolutely.
and not a boy anymore.
Yep.
You know, and
You can't have integrity some of the time.
no,
Right.
no,
It's gotta be in all areas of your life.
when nobody's watching.
Yep.
And that's the toughest part is to get deep down and dirty with these men that are in this meeting that like, you know, transparency, full transparency. Like this is what I'm going through. This is what I'm struggling with. This is the last bit of this part of anything that I need help with. Not just tuck it inside, right? Because that's integrity. Like. This is what I'm doing in the dark, like, and I don't want to, you know, I don't want to do that stuff when nobody's looking. I don't want to be this guy when nobody's looking. How do I not?
No.
And then pray for it to come. You know, that's the only way.
And then usually there's someone there who's had a similar struggle.
Absolutely, 100%.
Oh my God.
Or you get sent because you have chose to overcome this stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the beauty of it. That is where you want to be, is when you're being sent because you've had the courage to walk through those things. You've had the courage to, in a group full of men, to say, this is what I'm doing, I'm still struggling with, and I need your guys' help with it. Like that is it, because if you never tell me, I'll never know that I was sent for you. You know?
Absolutely.
And it's, oh, good man. Like this, if you would have told me that day when I hopped into that 18-wheeler that this is what life would look like, that I don't need to use or drink to live life successfully, I would have never believed you. I would have been like, no, I'll figure it out.
Yeah, I'm good. I got
Yeah,
it.
I'm good on
And if
probation
you
for
would have
years.
told me that my life was
I got
gonna
this.
look like
Yeah.
this 6
Hey, I'm
years
selling
later,
drugs till the day that I die. You know, like,
And that's the decision that we make too. And then we end up,
because the guy at the trap house can do it.
yeah, successfully for
Why
at least
can't
3
I?
months.
Yeah,
At
with,
least 3 months.
with impunity, right?
At least 3 months.
Yeah.
And it's something we talk about too. Like if you look at Chapo, like #1 drug dealer, blah blah blah, and they got him. Like there is,
Got
this
his
dude was
wife,
able
too.
to dig out of prisons twice.
carry on.
You know what I mean? I don't have that capability. I know nobody at this table does. If he can't get away with it, there's not a person on this earth that can. And then all the wreckage that comes through with that lifestyle and all the stuff that we leave in our past. I had a realization the other day, like I talk about peer supports, right, and lived experience. And we talk about that proudly. I know I do. And then sometimes I forget all the wreckage that I had to cause and the harm I had to cause in order to have that lived experience title. It's not such a great title, right? But the stuff that we did, we get to use that stuff now to help others hopefully see that there is a path if they choose it to go a different way, if they're willing to do the work.
Yeah. Or just
If they're willing to do the work.
or just,
Absolutely.
or just be in the right spot to have an honest moment.
Yeah.
Like that dude was today. You know, he's been in since '92, and he's got 12 years left to do. He walked right up to us and said that I've been in here so long, and for the last 10 years I've been miserable, you know, dipping back and forth. It's because I'm not choosing joy.
No.
You know what comes to mind is deep down in every man, woman, and child lives a ideal image of God.
Yeah.
You know, that's God that brought him up to you. You know, like that's not me.
Dude.
When I'm going through that, that's not me. That's
We
the power
had
of God.
one guy today, we went to Cimarron. Cimarron's been a shit show. They've had a bunch of stuff that happened there.
this
People
is-
got
this-
hurt, all that
this is-
stuff, right?
This is amazing, dude.
The guy's going to work. He's got his bottles. He's a porter in prison.
And you protect the chemicals there.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He walks
Yeah,
in there,
even in
he
county,
sees an
yeah.
officer that he doesn't like, so he's like, oh no, he's walking, and an officer's like, hey, we're having a group in here. Half the yard was locked down or whatever was going on, so they're trying to be cool to us and get a couple extra people in. You want to go? And the guy's like, yeah, right, I'll go. So he walks in, he sees an officer that he doesn't like or trust or whatever. So he's like, man, screw this. He turns around to leave, and the other officer comes up. He's like, hey, man, are you going in there? He's like, yeah, I'll go in there. I had no idea what it was, and no idea we were there, like what we were doing.
Yeah.
Came in, sat down, and got a shit ton out of the group. And I was explaining, I'm like, that's a God shot, bro. That's
Absolutely.
exactly
You
what
We're
that looks
supposed
like.
to be here.
You were
Yeah.
supposed to be here.
It wasn't by accident. You even tried to leave.
Right.
And you still got put in this room.
Nothing in
he
God's
still
And
will.
he
chose.
opened up
Yeah.
more than anyone else in there. He
Absolutely.
was ready.
That's the
Yeah.
best.
Well, the cool thing is the other guys that are in there have been coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're like, one of the guys is young. He's a 20-something-year-old Mexican kid, and he sent me an email 2 weeks ago, and he said, I'm missing the group because it was helping me with family relationships with my like he's using these words that we use that
Right. And
they
now-
shouldn't even know yet, right? But he's starting to learn now through us, and getting that in an email like on a Tuesday morning. I'm like,
Yeah.
man, we got to get back in there.
Yeah.
It's not because we weren't going; they were locked down.
Right.
It's
But it's
beautiful.
just so cool to be a part. Like
I love that.
probably everybody at this table, I don't know everybody's history so much, but I shove so much stuff in my arm trying to feel the stuff that I get to feel in recovery work.
Yeah.
And we talked about hangovers earlier. I wake up with no hangover.
None.
Right.
Wake up feeling great, ready to go again.
Yeah.
And it's just it's so great.
Yeah.
We're into our last couple of minutes here, so before we take off, what do you guys want to leave everybody with?
Go ahead, honey.
I mean, normally I leave a group with, like when I'm telling my experience, strength, and hope to people, is that you're not here to be new the whole time. Like, you're worth it. And you're not in here to rot away. You're not in here to make a PO happy. You're in here to change your life. And that you mean so much to me and to the people that are in this room, and you're here to mentor other people. You're not here just to be mentored. You're here to get the proper experience of being new, learn the stuff, and then give it away to somebody else. And that's what you're here for.
Right.
Nobody, I always tell them, nobody in this room is excluded from that fact of carrying this message to another person that's struggling, that may be out there and that needs help. Because that's what we're to do. That's what we get to do, is to be here on this side, telling the stories, giving the experience out, and then getting to share what it's like today. We get to be parents today. At
to be a wife.
It's crazy, a husband.
Crazy, huh?
I got a
I've been with
garage
the
clicker.
same dude for almost 6 years. I need an award.
I mean,
I
that's
need a
good.
new ring.
I wish we could do a close up of this ring that she says she needs a new one of.
Beautiful, man.
It's time for an upgrade.
What would you leave them with? It was the last couple minutes.
I need a new ring. No, I'm just kidding.
She's trying.
There's a
Manifestation.
checklist.
No,
I
I'm
already
just
have a
kidding.
checklist.
Sphinx cat, new ring, Camaro. Honestly, if you're new, stay. Seriously, don't leave before the miracle happens. We learned that the other day, or somebody had said it.
You are the miracle.
You are the miracle, yeah. And you can do anything you put your mind to,
Awesome,
but
man.
you gotta do the work.
You have to do the work.
Straight up.
Action.
So,
And the way I try to sell that, look how much effort we put into getting high.
for sure.
Put 10% of that into your recovery. You're going to be
Right.
fucking golden.
Chase your
Literally put 10% of it. We talked about it today in the prison. Everybody bitches about, I got to go here for 3 months, or I got to go do this for 30 days.
You get to
You're not
do
even
that.
talking about the 40 or 20 years of wreckage behind you, or the
Right.
15 years of wreckage. You're worried about this 2 months to get you on a better
Right.
path, or 3 months, or whatever.
I sit
Come on,
in
like-
I sit in admissions at Crossroads, and I'm like, they're like, I gotta fucking do 45 days, and blah, 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 blah.
I've been
like,
there.
You get to.
I've
Like,
been there.
shit, dude.
Oh, we've
and
all
if
been
you
there.
can
Doing
do the
one
45 days and you get an opportunity to do 2 more months, do it.
But I was getting high knowing I'm going to have to go do 10 years in prison.
Right.
I was fine with that.
Right.
God forbid I go work on myself for fucking 30 days.
Right.
Doesn't sound
Absolutely.
appealing.
Right.
Doesn't
I'm
sound
like,
appealing.
dude.
No.
Oh,
Well, we absolutely all love you guys
we love
so
you
much.
guys.
The love is
too.
mutual, man.
Absolutely, man.
love is
So glad
mutual.
you guys are here. So glad that my dog didn't bite you guys.
Almost.
Thank goodness. It was close.
Almost.
We made it
Pushing
through.
that limit, man.
But look
You're
at
like-
her.
You set a
She's
boundary
so
like,
cute.
hey, you should probably leave her alone. She's like, oh, really?
Hey,
No.
Kristen, let the dog settle down. Oh, okay. Hey, doggy.
The hot stove.
That's
Hey,
good.
it
Look at
came real close. It got my watch.
We're still working on boundaries.
Well, thank you all for being here tonight. Thank you guys so much.
Bye.
We'll see everybody later.
Hell yeah.